Now, have you ever wondered why it's you that gets bitten to shreds on your holiday when no one else travelling with you does? Well, we could just have the answer, plus the best advice on protecting yourself from the dreaded mozzies hoping to drink your blood. Mosquito viruses are on the rise, and not just the ones you've heard of. And we can be spoiled for choice with all the products and repellents promising to scare them off. But after an extraordinary test you won't want to try at home, I warn you, we can tell you exactly which kind are the most effective. They're the pesky holiday guests that just won't get the message to buzz off. You can hear them coming by the familiar whining noise that signals they're close. But no matter how hard you try to get rid of them, they just keep coming back for more. Now, fortunately, these days, I don't seem to have too much of a problem with mosquitoes. I'm sorry to say that as I've got older, or more experienced, as I prefer to put it, they just don't seem to fancy me as much. But whether it's you they go for or someone else you're with that they like to feast on, chances are that at some point when travelling abroad, you'll be worried about hearing that telltale little whining noise that tells you they're about. And you'll probably have stocked up on a spray or remedy to keep them at bay.
I always get bitten, and the bites swell up and then go black, and sometimes they track up my lymphatic system, and it's a disaster.
I could be sitting next to someone and they won't get bit, and I just get bit. One time I went to Turkey and I must have been bitten 80 times.
I think your blood is attractive and you have a smell somehow. I don't think repellents change anything.
For most of us, the worst consequence of getting bitten might be a nasty itch and an ugly red spot. But if you're bitten by a mosquito carrying disease, it can be a very different story. And there are a lot more of those diseases than you might think. Saida Siddiqui's family are from India, and so she and her husband try and take a holiday there as often as they can.
It was a short holiday. We just decided that we'll take a trip to India. We had some family members there, and they wanted us to visit for a short time.
Saida's not only been to India many times, she's also a doctor, so she's well aware of the risk of contracting diseases like malaria or dengue fever from mosquitoes. She also knows she's prone to getting bitten, so she made sure she packed plenty of mosquito repellent that she and her husband could use.
If I don't take, I will definitely get bitten up. Even if you are going out on the road, walking, the mosquitoes bite you.
But when Saida's husband returned to work in the UK, a week later, he accidentally took the precious mosquito spray back with him. And by the time she realised, all the shops were shut, meaning that Saida had no choice but to go to bed that evening without any protection from getting bitten.
In morning time, I felt that all my feet were just scratching. I was scratching.
But it was only several days later, after she returned to the UK, that Saida realised her bites were more than just an itchy annoyance.
I couldn't get up from the bed. It was all of a sudden. All my joints, my fingers, my feet, knee, my shoulder, neck was stiff. I couldn't move. Then I saw on my leg here a big rash.
It turned out Saida had contracted a debilitating viral disease called chikungunya, which is passed on by infected mosquitoes. Although it's rarely fatal, it can cause fever and severe joint and muscle pain. Currently, there's no cure, so Saida just had to manage her symptoms as best she could until they disappeared.
That gave me a bit of relief that it is chikungunya. It will be all right after some time. It took me 3.5 months to completely feel my joints free. So it is very, very depressing.
You may never have heard of chikungunya, but cases of it are on the rise. In 2014, 295 Brits were infected by the virus, and that's 12 times more than the previous year. The disease originated in Africa, but in recent years it's been reported in Italy, France and Croatia. But as with all mosquito-borne diseases, it is preventable if you apply the correct repellent. Trouble is, with so many different varieties on offer, how can you be sure you've bought the one that gives the best protection? Dr. James Logan from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has been getting up close and personal with mosquitoes for years.
The mosquito is nature's ultimate blood-seeking machine. It's perfectly designed to seek us out and steal our blood. And when it does so, it injects saliva into our skin, which is what causes the horrible itchy red lump that we know so well as a mosquito bite. But what it also can do is inject in something more nasty, a disease like dengue fever or malaria.
So, to show us how to avoid becoming a mosquito's tasty treat, Dr. Logan has an experiment up his sleeve.
I'm going to be testing some repellents that are commonly found on the market, as well as some anecdotes and myths that people believe repel mosquitoes. And the way I'm going to do it is by sticking my bare arm inside a cage full of hungry mosquitoes. So if the repellents work, the mosquitoes shouldn't land and bite.
So, the guinea pig in this test is Dr. Logan himself. Rather him than me. But before he can test the repellents, he has to check that he's tasty to mosquitoes in the first place.
When you go on holiday, there's always some people who seem to never get bitten by mosquitoes, and it's all to do with the way we smell. So some people smell repellent to mosquitoes.
Dr. Logan says he frequently gets bitten when he's abroad. And, as he suspects, when he puts his arm in the cage, the mosquitoes think lunch has arrived.
And what they're doing is they're responding to the chemicals given off by my skin, and also the heat and moisture coming from my skin as well. And you can see already, it's just been a matter of seconds, but you can see mosquitoes are starting to land and probe. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We've got about 15 mosquitoes already just within about 10 seconds landing on my arm. So we've just completed the control test, and there's actually 22 bites on my arm. So clearly I'm attractive to mosquitoes, which means I'm a good candidate to test these repellents on.
Oh, it makes me itch just watching. Well, before testing the more conventional repellents, Dr. Logan's going to try 3 of the more unorthodox ones that some people are convinced can work.
This is not the one I'm looking forward to.
Marmite, garlic and brewer's yeast.
So it's been about an hour and a half since I took the home remedies. So I'll put my arm back in the cage. You can see them all buzzing around there. They're really hungry still. And okay, straight away, they're in there. You can see 10 already landed. In fact, if anything, it looks like I'm slightly more attractive. So after about 30 seconds, I had about 31 bites. So it's pretty clear that these anecdotes, these home remedies, just do not work.
OK, time to test some more common off-the-shelf repellents, starting with PMD.
PMD, or lemon eucalyptus, is a natural repellent.
Is it feast or famine for the mosquitoes this time?
And the important thing about any repellent that you put on the skin is that you have even coverage. So you need to put it on like a suntan lotion. Some people just spray it in the air and walk through it like a perfume. That's not going to cut it. You have to cover the skin entirely because the mosquito will find the bit that's not been covered. Okay, so I've seen a few mosquitoes just sort of hovering around the hand, but they haven't actually landed. One sort of touched the arm and then took off again. But I haven't got any landing on my arm at all. So it certainly works in this short period of time. It does work.
So it's a tick for PMD.